Mhm.
Morning, Daily Huddlers. So I've got two cats. In fact, Rhonda saw them. Oh, there they are in the background right now. We always joke that they've got 9 lives, but do you know which animal has more lives than a cat? A frog. Croaks every day. See, Rhonda's laughing. It's great. You're doing well. This is awesome.
Better as a tadpole.
Anyway. Good morning, Daily Huddlers. Welcome to Wednesday, where we discuss everything about relationships and communication. Our dear friend and co-host, my co-host, Tara, is traveling today. So we've got me and one of my favorite people on the planet as a guest. But before we dive into the topic, I want to ask a couple of questions. Let's see. I want to start with Chase. Chase, how are you and what are you grateful for?
Grand Rising, nice to see you. I am extremely motivated and I am grateful for my father today.
I love that. Thank you, Chase. Grateful for family. I love that. Tom, I would like to ask you, where are you and who are you going to hug today?
Well, I am right here, fully present. And I'm going to hug my son, Charlie.
Yay. Wonderful. Thank you. Yeah, as much as we do this every single time, it still grounds me in the moment to be here. And the last question I want to ask my dear friend Sorrel is, what time is it?
The only time there is, Catherine, the time is now.
That's right.
Now, and now.
That's great. And thank you for spending your now with us, to you and to everybody. So we're here and we're now, and we are the way we say we are. And I am super excited because our guest today, Rhonda Barnett, is one of my favorite people on the planet. She knows it. And I have been wanting to do this with her for a long time. So I'm so glad that she said yes. And we're going to be talking about how to build a business that matters. So let me tell you a little bit about Rhonda before we get into that. Rhonda is the founder and CEO of Building Foundations Learning Academy, which is a learning facility that was birthed to create equal access to quality childcare for children from all walks of life. She started in her basement more than 15 years ago while she was a single mother, full-time college student, and full-time journalist. She grew her vision to become what it is today. She is passionate about people and aims to be a support system and a resource to all within her reach, which she does. Welcome, Rhonda.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yes. So one of the reasons I'm really excited, and y'all, by the way, you're just about to see a love fest, so just get ready for it. So
Now, I get emotional now.
all right, we're here for it. One of the reasons I've been wanting to do this is, well, one, I love you and I love who you are. And I wanted people to experience like just your personality and just see who you are in your fullness. And I think one of the best ways to do that is to talk about what you do. And so just tell us a little bit about what your business is. And then we can dive into the question of how do you build a business that matters, because you clearly have.
Yeah, well, to be quite honest, my business started accidentally. I was just helping another single mother, and I really fell in love with being that resource for her, being that resource and that loving and nurturing educator for her child. She had had a couple of bad experiences, so to be that comfort for her and her extension of family really made a difference for me. And that's when I discovered what my passion was. So I took that show on the road and started a full-fledged business in my basement, little by little. And, I was very passionate about giving children experiences and opportunities that they might not otherwise have. So I incorporated a variety of things from French lessons to karate lessons to paint lessons, just all these variety of things that were happening, started out in my home, and I was able to expand as I built and I grew. It also became a passion to me once I started to meet more parents and hearing their stories and different things that they were going through. It felt really good to be able to also be their resource, be their support system as the adult. So my business just kind of started off of the love I had for being a support to someone else.
I love that. What's funny is this morning over breakfast, I said to my son, I said, so today on the Daily Huddle, I'm having Rhonda, and we're going to ask, how do you build a business that matters? What do you think? How do you think you do it? And he's 10, and he says, do something that you think matters. And it's right. It's exactly what it is. It's what you described about your passion. Is like, that's what your passion became. And then that's how you grew it.
Yes.
And so I want to hear a little bit about, because the whole story is impressive. And what's really impressive right now too is, tell us about your facility now. Tell us where you are, what you offer, and who are the kids that are in your space, and what do you do for them?
Okay, so I went from my basement and now I'm in a huge facility. It's 8,500 square feet. So there is plenty of room for children and staff. It was a while to get there. I had no idea I was going to get there, but I was so passionate and driven and ambitious to do it. So somehow I made it happen. As far as the kids, I have kids from, like I said, all walks of life, also ones with varying abilities. And I'm very passionate about making sure that they are also in a safe place where they're nurtured and loved and being helped and coached, especially ones who may have speech issues or any other type of learning disabilities. We really want to work singularly with those. So I don't have a facility where it's 27 kids in one classroom and one or two teachers trying to just wrap their brain and get through the day. I offer a situation where we have a more personalized approach to the children. So every single child gets that individual attention.
Mm-hmm. And going from your basement to an 8,500 square foot facility, I've been privy to a lot of that journey, but you've been through some ups and you've been through some real downs. Yeah. What do you think has kept you on the path to continue and to get you to where you are now, even through those down times?
My dedication to the children, my dedication to even staff, and building my small community within my community to have a place where, people can have employment or, live out what their passion is as well. So the kids really have been so important to me because, again, as a single parent myself, I understand how it can be hard trying to juggle everything. So as much as I can offer to the children while they're in my facility throughout that 11-hour period of the day, I'm doing. So they do everything from gardening classes. So we're teaching, about nutrition and how to actually grow their own foods, and they take part in that every week. Like I said, karate, or taekwondo actually, but art classes, just anything that can feed into their creativity to help them discover what it is that they're passionate about.
Well, I think that's one of the things I'm always so impressed by you about, because you don't have to do all of those things. I mean, I'm sure there's some requirements to what you do need to do in terms of extracurricular, but you're doing above and beyond because of your passion for the kids and really wanting them to learn. Yes. And also your passion for the staff, because often you create programs for the staff. I've seen you bend over backwards for the people who work for you to, like you said, to help to grow them and develop them.
Yeah, I think it's really important to feed into people, right? So when I was a journalist, I just felt like I was not really seen, just kind of overlooked. It just didn't fulfill me in any type of way. And so now being in a place to where I'm the CEO, I'm really big on just listening to my people, making sure that they're seen and heard, and congratulating them on the milestones they make, pushing them to also get their education and further their life, because you probably won't be with me forever, but let me make you as good as I can. So when you go to the next place, you'll just continue to grow from there.
That's amazing, because a lot of people don't get that. I mean, so many people don't get that. And for you to take the time to develop people, and then because that impact has a ripple effect.
It does. It does. And at the end of the day, if it's all about the children, that's what it's about. So it's not just the ones that are within my direct reach, but maybe I'm grooming someone to go and into the next zip code or whatever have you to groom those children as well.
Mm-hmm. What do you feel like is the thing that, I don't know what the question I want to ask is, it's like, what's your greatest accomplishment in all of this for you personally?
Oh gosh. Now that's a large question.
Well, just pick one of them.
Uh, because I feel like, I feel like my steps are ordered in what it is I am to do. So I don't necessarily think I look at things as being an accomplishment, so to speak. It's like, okay, I've made it to this level. What is the next thing? So I have to be quiet and listen and meditate and be in touch with myself spiritually, because I do feel like I'm being used as a vessel. So I just have to be prepared to take the next step. So I mean, I've definitely had some accomplishments along the way. First of all, owning my building now and taking that journey, successfully raising two sons throughout this whole process, because that was not easy. Um, Growing and developing a place that I love so much. It's really like my third child. Like I love my business. So I think just developing that passion really, or understanding and discovering that passion, is what I'm most proud of as far as what I feel like my accomplishment or success is, because a lot of people go their whole lives and don't know what their passion is. So I feel like I'm one of the lucky ones.
Hmm. Well, I feel like you're like giving steps for how to have a successful business, but also a business that matters. When you're saying, find your passion,
Yes.
and then through that, though, I mean, that's just one step. That's just the beginning. And then how do you cultivate? And you're talking about getting in touch with yourself and self-care. And how do you stay connected to that passion? Because I know that some days are just, any business, it's got to be tough, especially when you've got staff and COVID, you made it through that.
Oh yeah. um, I don't know how I stay connected, because I feel like I don't know any other form of Rhonda. It's been 15 and a half years. So, my business and Rhonda's are synonymous, so I just continue to move, because I feel like there's no other choice. This is what I'm supposed to be doing.
Hmm. Well, I think there's an answer in there too, which is be unapologetically you.
Yeah.
Find out who you are, know that, and keep on the path regardless of what anyone says to you or does
Yeah,
to you.
because there will be people who, are you sure you want to do that? Are you growing too fast? Do you want to make that move? And I have to shut all of that out, because it's about what feels right for me in that moment. So I don't make any decisions based on what anyone else has said to me, because I have the courage. And
Mm.
that's just it. So I'm going to make the moves, whatever I decide to do. I have the courage and the ambition, and I hold myself and my business with such a high regard and integrity. I have to keep elevating.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I love that about you, that you're constantly looking to grow yourself, grow your people, grow your facility for the kids. And I want to touch on something. I do want to open it to questions, because I think I can feel it brewing, that people want to hear
Mhm.
from you and ask you things. But you said something a little while ago. You said, somehow I made it happen. You've been this, leap to where you are now. And, I say, actually, there's more than just a somehow. And tell me about your relationships with people, because you have filled yourself, your community, with people who support you in all different areas. You've chosen people that do things better than you do, like finance, or, accountants and things like that. So talk about the relationships that have helped you get to where you are today.
Oh, wow. Well, I would have to probably go all the way back to ACE,
Mhm.
in regards to how I began to meet so many people. When you first start out, you think you can do everything by yourself, or you're figuring out, or you don't want to spend this money because you need to feel like you need to have it over here. And what I began to understand is that I needed to have a team of people who knew more than me, that could help me and help grow me. So yes, I have a
So let's tell them what ACE is. So ACE is a company and organization. It's a nonprofit called Access to Capital for Entrepreneurs. It's actually how Rhonda and I met. I was a coach for ACE, and Rhonda was a client, and they do amazing things offering alternative lending options for people who can't get traditional loans. And then they offer all this programming outside of it. So it's an amazing program.
Yes. So with that, I met you. I've met my bookkeeper, my CPA, a financial analyst, just tons and tons of people that, I may check in with. I may contract them monthly, like regularly as far as my bookkeeper, but it may be someone who I touch base with every 6 months, like, hey, let's analyze, my profit and loss sheets, or where can I go, or how do I grow if I want to have this get to this level, what do I need to do? So it has been very valuable. And I think it's also important to have good relationships, of course, with your family, your friends, the people who surround you that encourage you, as well as your employees. I really have a good relationship, just some dynamic people that work for me. And having that good relationship and that feel good, and we're able to pour into each other, really helps the success of the business.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I want to point something out because I do know this about you. Some people can go find people who can help them and they can create those relationships, but you have a way of deepening those relationships, keeping those people close to you, making them feel special. And I think that has a lot to do with it. It's not just making the relationships, it's the quality of the relationship and how you, I guess the one thing that when I think about you is how you hold people. Everyone you hold in the highest regard until they give you a reason not to. And then, you'll be happy to cut ties. But that is such an amazing quality that you have.
And it's natural. I can't even tell you how I do it. That's just who I am. I think I really believe in just the old saying of treating people how you would want to be treated.
Yeah.
And I genuinely live by that every single day and every single interaction that I have with people, even strangers. If I'm passing by you, we make eye contact. Good morning, how you doing? Because I might be the only one who asks you today, how you doing? So you never know how you're going to impact people. So I just treat everybody as I would want them to treat me.
Well, you inspire me every day in the way that you do that. Because I'll be honest, it doesn't come natural to me. I have to work at that, to hold people. So when you say that, it's like, yeah, like I summon my inner Rhonda on the days that I just feel like I can't do it.
Yeah.
So amazing quality that you have. It's beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you.
And I want to hear what people have to say. So we've got Tom has his hand up. And let's see what other questions we have. Tom.
Great. Thank you, Catherine. Rhonda, thank you very much for being on. This is very inspiring. Thank you for sharing about you and your business. And Catherine has mentioned you several times, so it's great to meet you here over Zoom. You've mentioned passion several times, and Catherine has mentioned it as well. Coincidentally, my morning devotional was passions and then finding your purpose out of your passions. And then with your purpose, if it's grounded in a spiritual way, then that can provide that much more impact, depth of impact to the people that you're interacting with. My question for you, as you've grown your business over time, has your purpose evolved? Or do you feel like fundamentally the clarity of your purpose coming out of your passions, it's really remained the same?
That's a good question.
That is a great question. I do think it's evolved. I think it's gotten deeper and it's more connected. When I get into a certain realm or a certain situation, I want to learn more about that. So, right now I'm looking at going back to school to further my education in a specialty because I notice it being a more common situation now than it has ever been in my career before. So anything that I can do to educate me more and be able to assist more with the children, I do. So I think it does evolve in that way, but fundamentally at the core, it's the same purpose and passion. My mom had told someone before that this is my ministry, and I really believe that.
Oh, good. Well, thank you for saying that. And Catherine, thanks for not muting me and letting me get that.
Rhonda, that's a great way to say it, ministry, because it does encapsulate what you do. You don't have a job, you don't just have a business, and that's why this question of how do you build a business that matters? Because it really is. I love that word that you're bringing that forward, because it does feel like that's what you do.
Yeah, I lead with love. And I think that's just naturally who I am. But then when you again, are in your purpose and you just love what you do, you can't help but to exude that. And so that's how I lead. That's how I lead my staff. That's how I lead my next moves. My career is just always having that heart piece into it.
Oh, that's awesome. Sorrel, I want to hear what's up for you today with this. I'm so curious.
Good morning again, Rhonda.
Good morning.
I love to say this, and in particular, I'm going to say it to you. You are the chosen one. Claim it. And as I'm hearing you speak, I'm saying, she is chosen and she's claimed that. And when one claims that which chose you, you live a life, and sometimes you don't know what life you're living. You're just living it because you've surrendered to that choice. And I know for you, there could have been times when it was hard for you to surrender to being chosen for that. What has been the toughest spot for you to surrender that way to the purpose?
Well, I think, so at the beginning, when I first started my business, I still was a journalist. I still was in school. I think that the biggest thing for me is when I had to actually make the decision, once it got to the point to where, it was getting rather large, even in my home, I had to make a choice. So do I walk away from what I went to college for, what I've been doing for the past 9 or 10 years, and really make this leap? And oh my gosh, what's going to happen? All the unknowns, not knowing anything about business. I didn't have a background in business. So that was really tough when I had to make that choice and say, this is it. This is what I'm going to do. And I felt great about the decision, but I was a little timid, it was a little fearful because it's all or nothing. You're going from, someone else giving you a paycheck to now you making your own and having to create paychecks for other people too. So it was a bit intense, but I just felt so good about it.
Yeah, and thank you for sharing it that way, Rhonda. Now, when it comes to like being chosen that way, do you sometimes hear the choice speaking to you?
I do, absolutely.
What do you hear when you hear that?
A lot of times it comes to me, particularly when I'm in a car, I'll ride in silence a lot. And, I tell Catherine all the time, it's something about me being outside in that sun and nature. And I really feel like I hear a whisper of whatever it is that I might be thinking of, or what the decision I'm trying to make. I don't want to say anything I'm battling with, but it might be, should I do this or should I do this? And, I can rack my brain, I could talk about it, I could think, for hours, take notes, but it's just something. I'll get to a certain space, a certain place of peace, and I will actually hear the answer. I'll hear what the next move is. It's so funny you ask that because sometimes I'm like, am I crazy? But I really do. I really do hear that. It's like a low whisper, and it tells me exactly what I need to do.
Thank you, Rhonda.
Which is also how I know that this is my purpose. I don't feel like I would be getting that type of guidance if this were not for me. And I appreciate you saying I'm a chosen one. It kind of brought tears to my eyes a little bit because, I hadn't heard it said in that manner, but I do feel lucky to be chosen to do this.
You are.
I knew you all would have connection. I love that you brought it that way, Sorrel. Thank you. And thank you for answering so honestly, because we just get to see you, in your full light. And Tom has another question or something to add.
Yeah, if you don't mind, I wanted to, you're touching on things that you do, Rhonda, and I'm always curious, someone who's very successful, particularly someone who has such depth of impact, like what do you do as far as like your own routines to keep yourself grounded and energized? You talked some about, pausing, reflecting, and being in touch with nature, but I'm just curious to ask you a little bit more directly what you personally do.
On a regular basis, I do need that time to myself to fill my cup back up, to consider all my options and just think. So I do spend a lot of time, and I don't know if you will call it meditating, but I can just be in a quiet place and just kind of grounding myself and reconnecting with me. Outside of that, I love to travel, and I actually do my best thinking on the beach. So any beach, somewhere in the Caribbean. So that helps to reset me as well, because we all have this pressure, right? You know, when you're running a business or working or whatever have you, no matter how much you love what you do, at some point you need a release, you need a break. And so that's what I'll do to take my breaks, to release and come back in a clearer headspace with some of those answers after hearing some of those whispers and knowing what I need to do next.
Oh, good. Thank you. Yeah, I think what's implied in what you're saying, you have a very highly developed level of self-awareness. So I think if I'm hearing you correctly, you're in tune with where you feel like you need to step out, recharge, go to those places that are particularly helpful, whether it's the beach or other things you do.
Absolutely is, and it's very sensitive. I don't know how I developed that along the way, but I definitely can tell when it's time for me to take a step back, because you're on all the time, right? When you're out, you're working, you're talking to people, you're on all the time, and sometimes you just need to be disconnected and just on for yourself. You can give out so much, but what are you putting back in? And so I do start to feel, I just feel it, you ever have like a blood pressure headache, like you feel something coming on, like I could feel it like that. And then I know it's time for me to step back, whether I don't answer my phone for several hours or tune out into some music or the TV or whatever have you. I know when it's time for me to recharge. Just so important, because that helps your relationships with other people, because you're not aggravated or snappy. You can literally always be on because you've taken that time out for yourself.
Mm-hmm. And I want to point out that you have the self-discipline to do it, because some of us realize it, recognize it, know we need to take a moment, but then, oh, I'm too busy or I can't do it. You literally do it. I mean, you have set up so many trips. You come back recharged every single time. And that's what I'm amazed about. You know it, you see it, and then you have the self-discipline and self-care and self-love to make it happen.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm hoping to get better at it. I'm starting to know, okay, do I need to go somewhere every 5 weeks, every 6 weeks? I'm trying to nail it down to a science, but it does feel good to know, so that way I don't put myself in burnout mode.
Yep. Well, I'm gonna figure out a way to get in your suitcase because of all the amazing places you can go. So, y'all don't see me one Wednesday, I'm gonna be in her suitcase. Well, Rhonda, this flew by. It's hard to imagine, but I love what you bring, and thank you for sharing who you are so authentically. I know you don't know any other way, and it is such a gift to us for you just to be here and share your energy and your insights and who you are. So thank you.
Thank you guys for having me.
Yes. And I'm going to close us out today with our 7 tenets. And I just wanted to circle back on like how to build a business that matters. What Rhonda's talked about is, get clear about your passion, know yourself, love people. People are such an important part of this journey that you've described. And most of all, which is my first tenet that I always start with, is love. Love yourself as much as you love other people or more. Just love yourself, love everybody, and give of your gifts. Once you find that passion, give those gifts all the way, as much as you can. And get your sleep and your rest. That's the self-care we were talking about here just a little bit ago. Eat more plants because your body will thank you. And I like to say relax instead of stress less, but relax so you can stress less, because then you can laugh and go lay on the beach and enjoy it. And laugh out loud. Maybe my joke wasn't that funny this morning, but go find yourself a funny joke. Really laugh. Rhonda laughs like you wouldn't believe. And when she does, it fills a room. And always remember to move that body. Y'all, thank you so much. We will see y'all tomorrow on the Daily Huddle and next week right here on Wednesdays. Thank you, Rhonda.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
One love, guys. One love.
Thank you, Ron.
Family.
Oh, and don't,
Thank you.
August 12th, come see us.